daily videos, make sure you're subscribed and click that notification bell so you're alerted every time we post a new video.
Aloha, I'm Miriam and this is Yes to Hawaii. We make Hawaii videos, take the guesswork out of planning your trip. As always, I'll leave timestamps in the description box below, so feel free to skip around the video for the parts that you came here for. In this video, I'm going to share with you 8 tips that I wish I would have known when I went snorkeling with the manta rays. This video is geared for first timers who have never been snorkeling with the manta rays. Now, for snorkeling with manta rays, this can only be done on the Big Island and it's done on the Kona side. There's a few different boat trips that will take you out there, and these 8 tips should help you make the most out of your experience. Number 1 is a packing tip. Make sure that you do bring 2 towels and warm clothes for after you snorkel. The first towel is going to be for using after you finish snorkeling. The second one you can use as a blanket. You're snorkeling at night, and sometimes depending on the boat ride that you take, the boat ride from where you finish snorkeling to the shore can be anywhere from 5, 10 minutes, 20, 30, 35 minutes. Having that extra dry towel to use as a blanket can make your time after snorkeling a lot more comfortable. Now, as for warm clothes, I would recommend wearing or bringing sweatpants and either a hoodie or some sort of windbreaker. Again, it's not necessarily really cold right when you get out of the water, but the boat ride back from where the snorkel trip is until the shoreline can be very windy. Plus, the worst that could happen by packing these is that you end up not using them. I always find that it's better to pack a couple extra layers of clothing, a few extra items, than not having what I need. Number 2 is to double check to see what your tour actually includes. Does your tour include snacks? Does it include hot chocolate or tea? Now, all of these things might seem like small things. However, when you finish snorkeling at night, it can be really chilly. Having a nice cup of hot chocolate or tea is a nice touch. If your tour doesn't come with it, you can always opt to bring your own in a thermos. Again, not a complete necessity, but it does add to the experience and make it a lot more comfortable for that chilly boat ride back to shore. Now, if you get motion sickness, the next 2 tips are for you. Tip number 3 is to ask how long the boat ride is from shore to the actual manta rays. Now, when I did this trip years ago, I didn't really know anything about the distance of the harbors, where the snorkel trips would be. I just knew that I wanted to snorkel with manta rays. However, I got incredibly seasick on my trip. From the shoreline to the actual manta ray snorkel was a good 35-minute boat ride. It was incredibly choppy. It was at night, so I couldn't use the horizon to help balance me. Now, don't make my mistake. If you're prone to seasickness, make sure you ask these kinds of questions. Because again, you're gonna be going in the dark, the boat is gonna be moving a lot, and you aren't able to see the horizon because it'll be pitch black. However, a few years after that, I ended up getting a really great recommendation from a previous coworker who told me about a specific company that had the exact same manta ray dive, but it was a lot shorter boat trip. I had explained that the reason I didn't like snorkeling with the manta rays was because the boat trip took so long. It was 35-40 minutes, and he had gave a really great suggestion about a different company that comes out of a separate bay area where it was only about a 5-minute ride to the actual manta rays. So at his suggestion, I tried that tour. And it was a complete night and day difference. I didn't get seasick because the ride was really short. I didn't have to pack tons of layers of clothing because again, it was only a quick 5-10 minute ride. Overall, it was a much better experience. So these are again some of the questions that I would ask. If you're prone to seasickness, ask the time it would take from the shoreline all the way to the actual snorkeling point itself. Number 4 is to take any motion sickness aids with plenty of time. If you think you might need motion sickness tablets, whether it's ginger, Dramamine, C-bands, anything like that, make that decision at least a few hours before your trip. I've seen some people make the mistake of getting on board the boat and then taking a motion sickness tablet right then. By then, it's a bit too late. By the time it kicks in, you're already on the vessel and it hasn't had time to be absorbed in your system. So again, if you're taking any ginger tablet, Dramamine tablets, any of those kinds of things, you want to take those at least a few hours ahead of time. That way it has time to go in your system and you're less likely to be motion sickness because again, you've taken that precaution in advance. Number 5 is don't touch the manta rays. Now, the boat crews will always remind you of this, don't touch the manta rays. And the reason for this is because the oils on our skin damage the manta rays. To keep the manta rays safe and healthy, as they get closer and closer to you, don't extend your hand to touch the manta rays or pet the manta rays. You want to give them their space. Now, I know sometimes this can be tricky because in the excitement, the manta rays are huge, you're super stoked and you're really pumped, but again, it keeps the manta rays safe because again, the oils on our hands and our skin damage the manta rays. Now, number 6 is to remember that a lot of the ocean conditions that you might experience are very seasonal. So for example, on Oahu, depending on what time of year it is, the ocean conditions can be different. So for example, on Oahu, December, January, February are our winter season months where the North Shore gets really choppy with big waves, and then the South Shore is very calm. In summer, it's the exact reverse, where in June and July, the North Shore is really calm. If you're heading over to the Big Island and you're not sure what the ocean conditions might be, it's a good idea to check with the boat that you had booked to ask how they think the ocean conditions will be. The crew at each of the different boats are very knowledgeable. They've done these same trips every day for months, years, so ask them. The crew will be happy to help and provide some suggestions on the best times of year to go, best days to go, and so forth. So if you have questions, ask the crew. Number 7 is to bring a waterproof camera. I'll leave a link in the description box below for my favorite. I would highly recommend that you bring a waterproof camera. All the footage that's in this video is all from a regular GoPro Hero. My personal favorite is using the GoPros. Now, I've seen some people use their cell phones in the water when you're snorkeling, but keep in mind, you want to be very careful of the specific case you use. I personally never bring my phone into the water with me. I had previously had a waterproof case, and when I got into the water, it leaked. So since then, I only bring my GoPro in the water. And number 8 is to rinse any electronics with fresh water. So for example, if you do bring a GoPro into the water, keep in mind that salt water can be very corrosive. So anything that you don't want damaged, don't forget to give it a quick splash of fresh water before you put it back inside your bag. The same can be said for rinsing off after you go snorkeling. If you don't want to damage your hair, it's an easy thing to forget. Salt water, again, can really damage your hair sometimes. So when you get out of the water, most boats do have a freshwater shower. Don't forget to use it. It'll also help protect your skin from getting really dried out. I hope these 8 tips on how to snorkel with manta rays helped you if you're a first timer. If you've snorkeled with manta rays before and have another great tip to add, definitely leave a comment down below and share with us all. I hope you guys liked this video and found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And if there's any other Hawaii videos you'd like to see, definitely leave them in the comments down below.